Hello, my cuties, and welcome back. I get questions pretty often about art, and I really wish I could reply to everybody, but sadly, I just don't have the time. So, why not make a video on it? I'm going to break it down into a few videos so I can explain it more in depth. So, if there's something in this you want me to go over, feel free to comment down below. Now, this video is for beginners, so don't expect any tips on painting or complicated shading, lighting, and yada yada yada. If you want, I can do a video on that stuff, but this is far more for young artists and new artists who just don't know what they're doing. Let's get into this. I'm sure a lot of you have noticed I typically color and draw with a gray background on my art. Well, it's actually very helpful, specifically for coloring. White backgrounds tend to be too bright for me personally, and I end up accidentally making my palette way too bright. So my first bit of advice is to try sketching and coloring on a gray background. It might feel weird at first, but it's very helpful, especially if you're coloring a piece that has a ton of dark hues. Typically, when you have a bright background, you'll naturally want to make the hues brighter and more vibrant to combat the white background, so this is extremely helpful. Speaking of vibrant colors, saturated colors are a huge thing for beginner artists. If a character has particularly neon colors, sure, but if you want a more professional look, try to avoid neon colors. Instead, use those as small parts in the art for details, like glowing eyes, fire, other glowing parts, bright parts in the hair. I like using vibrant colors for some pieces, but never the whole piece. It's just way too hard on the eyes. I'll be using My Little Pony as a reference for this, but as you can see, even the ponies in the show are not super saturated. Yes, they're bright colors, but their colors are very nice and easy on the eyes. In fact, even one of the ponies, Rarity, is not pure white. She has a very soft gray tone to her, but her fur is described as white, which is actually a really good design choice and something I think many young artists should know. Don't use pure white. Try and add a hint of gray or something. I no longer use pure white even for the eyes, actually. I use a slightly gray color and let the shines be pure white typically. Sometimes a softer and brighter color of the eye, like if it's green, then I use a very bright green that has the eye shine. If you look at a lot of cartoons and animes, they don't often use pure white. They actually sometimes use more of a hint of gray versus just complete vibrant white. Here's an example on how to do that, and it helps the eyes pop a lot more. Back to color theory, let's talk about skin. Yes, skin. Probably one of the hardest things to nail down when you first start art. I know. Look at these disasters. Something that I noticed that a lot of new artists do, and that I did personally, is something that I like to call the Simpson skin tone, and overly gray tones for dark skin. It is an extremely common mistake, so don't feel bad. Something you should instead try is moving the skin color to more of a red or purple. Not a ton, keep that in mind, just more subtle. I will even give some examples on what I mean. Having overly yellow or gray skin can completely throw off the shading and make the piece look very unprofessional. If your character has yellow or more of a gray skin tone, then yeah, sure, use it. But for a normal human being, it's best to just not have that and avoid it at all costs. Skin has a ton of hues in it, and it's good to try and capture that as best as you can. Now, staying on the topic of skin, an issue I see a ton is what I like to call is muddy skin or muddy shading. And what I mean by that is you have a very pale character and you give them more of a brown shading, like just a brown on top of pale skin, and it really doesn't look good. It's not a huge issue, but it just often just throws the whole piece off, in my opinion. I would say try to add more of a reds into the shading, maybe some more purples, versus just moving down the color wheel into more of a brown. When you're adding this kind of shading, don't go full into the red or purple. Don't just bam right into there. Don't. But play around with it, see what kind of looks better, mess around. I would honestly say look around at some anime screenshots and see kind of how they do it, other cartoons, other artists, whatever it may be. Look at how they're doing it and kind of attempt to maybe copy how they do shading in order to learn more about it. Now, for you artists who are still struggling with shading, or maybe you just want to move in the process and whatever, here is a little tip from me to you. Now, for this, you need some kind of actual drawing program, not MS Paint. Throw that in the trash. I've linked down below a couple of free programs, so have at it. So what is this magical secret, this devious thing I'm about to tell you about? Multiply layer. Yeah, I know, but the heck is that? Well, look at your layer, and above that there should be some fancy-pantsy settings, which, yes, 100% play around with all of the other settings and see what you enjoy, but for now we're talking about multiply layer. So, go to your drawing and smash all the layers. Yes, all the layers, all of the color layers specifically, not the line art layer. Leave the line art layer alone. Don't bully her. Leave her alone. Oh god. Now, on the layer, click multiply. Time to pick a color. Now, this is kind of the big trick. Don't make the color too vibrant or too dark. As you can see, I'm playing with a few colors that I want. I know I've been saying avoid the grayish shading for colors, but hilariously for multiply layer, you kind of want to stick to the gray end. I'm sort of hugging onto the grayish purple. More of a mauve color for some shading, or like this shy blue color. I'm not really sure what to call it, I'm gonna be real. This is great, especially if you are making comics, so you don't have to color the pages for like 7,000 years, and really, really, really good for dynamic shading. Which is another thing. This setting is perfect if you want to try a more dynamic approach to lighting and shading, but you're not really sure how, and trying to do it on each and every layer is just, oh god, help. Now, on my program, there's this setting called a clipping group, which makes it so much easier. Oh my lord. It essentially clips the layer above to the bottom layer, so I can literally draw all over it and it won't go outside of the layer below, which is the base colors that I have. I am using Clip Studio Paint, but that costs money. And when you are like 14 and don't have a job, oh boy. So again, free programs down below. Oh boy, highly recommend any program that you download to watch a tutorial on that specific program, please, 'cause I don't know how all those work. I'm really hoping that these tips can help you and slowly and surely improve your art over time. Remember, art is not a linear progression. It takes time. I know everybody wants to improve super fast, but it takes time. Your art will grow and change over time, even if you can't see it. I really, really hope this helps. Oh lord. If you have any questions, please comment down below so I can add them to the next video or just reply. This is kind of a new thing I'm trying out, so if it's bad, I'm sorry. Oh lord. I would love to give a big shout out to my $10 patrons, Strongquillies and Wolfie. Ho ha ha ha! Hey! And another gigantic shout out to my $60 patrons. Somebody's just stomping around upstairs, I guess. My $60 patrons, which is Don and Noah. Hey, how you doing? Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you liked it, and I hope it helped. And please remember to drink some water. Bye!